Hey everyone, do you think Dee will ever find that place where happiness truly feels like home? In the rush of passing faces and the weight of daily struggles, will the dream he's been holding on to for so long finally take shape? Or will the road ahead be filled with twists and turns, each step carrying unspoken emotions waiting to be voiced? And when that moment comes, what will it bring for Dee and Huyen? Will it be a season bursting with blossoms, or a sudden turn that changes their lives forever? It was a gentle morning, the kind where mist still lingers over the small pond beside a humble bamboo house nestled deep in a green garden. Standing in the cool water, De planted his feet firmly into the mud, steady as stakes his strong hands, skillfully pulling in a heavy dripping net. With each pull, droplets of water burst into the air, catching the first light of dawn like tiny shards of glass. In his eyes, there was a quiet, unwavering hope for a morning of abundance. When he gave the net one final powerful lift, silver fish thrashed wildly, flashing in the sun like hundreds of broken mirrors scattering across the water. Dee couldn't help but let out a joyful exclamation, his voice trembling with excitement. The warm morning sun wrapped around him, the splash of the fish, the gentle lap of the water, and his laughter all wove together into a simple, sweet symphony of peace. In that moment, every burden, every worry faded away. What remained was the pure joy of a country morning where happiness is stitched together from life's smallest blessings, yet somehow it's enough to warm an entire lifetime. This morning, the sky felt like it was draped in the thinnest silk, clear, soft, and cool to the touch. Tiny beads of dew clung to the leaves, shimmering like pearls under the first light of day. I held Maya's small hand in mine, her little fingers warming gently against my palm. My heart was a mix of excitement and unease, knowing today's job was far from easy, clearing weeds from a house that had been abandoned for years. I reminded myself I can handle anything, as long as it means I can take care of my daughter. The faded, worn-out jacket on my shoulders couldn't hide the marks of time and hardship, but I didn't care. The path to the house was shaded by tall trees, and the cheerful chirping of birds felt like quiet encouragement. When we arrived, the owner was already waiting. His eyes swept quickly over the yard before he spoke curtly. "The grass is tall and thick. Clear it all for me, please." I glanced around. The grass had grown wild, swallowing the walkway, and sharp thorns hid beneath, ready to tear at skin. Taking a deep breath, I tightened my grip on the hoe and began. Before swinging the first cut, I turned to Maya. "Maya, stay close to me, okay?" Off. She nodded, her wide, curious eyes following my every move. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just clearing weeds. I was trying to cut away the rough edges of our life to make space for a patch of peace just for the two of us. Under the scorching sun, the heat felt thick enough to choke the air, clinging to every breath I took. The front yard of the abandoned house was a tangled mess of weeds and creeping vines, looking more like a forgotten corner of the forest than someone's home. Dead tree stumps lay scattered, their roots clawing deep into the cracked, dry earth, as if desperately clinging to the last traces of life. I stood in the middle of it all, my hand gripping a rusty, dulled sickle. Every swing was slow but deliberate. My back screamed with each bend, my shoulders tight and aching as if they might give out. Sweat poured down my face, stinging my eyes, but I wiped it away with the back of my hand and kept going. My skin had grown dark from the relentless sun, my hands calloused and nicked raw from the bite of wild grass. But I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of mold and years of dust. Every step on the rotting wooden floor made it groan beneath my weight. Cobwebs draped the corners, and the weak sunlight barely slipped through the cracked, broken window panes. I swept and coughed my throat dry, my grip on the broom trembling. Now and then, the soft rustle of insects hidden in the walls made me flinch. But I kept cleaning, slowly, scraping away the years of neglect. Out on the porch, Maya sat quietly on an old mat. Her hair tangled her dark eyes, following my every move. Sometimes, she would ask Mom, "Are you tired?" I would smile, shake my head and turn away quickly, hiding the heat welling in my eyes. The truth was, I was exhausted. The blistering sun, the stench of sweat and mildew, the burning cuts on my hands, the deep ache in my back, they all pressed down on me. But I knew that at the end of this day, the pay I'd earned could mean a few warm meals, maybe a couple of new notebooks for Maya. Every swing of the sickle, every sweep of the broom wasn't just about clearing weeds or dust. It was my way of fighting to carve out a small piece of the future for my daughter in a life that rarely smiles on the two of us. Late in the day, the golden light of the setting sun slipped through the tree branches. I walked slowly each step, heavy after a long, exhausting day of work. My hands still carried the faint scent of soap and the dampness from the rooms I'd just cleaned, a quiet reminder of how hard I'd tried. When the bamboo gate creaked open, I stopped in my tracks. There on the porch, in the gentle fading light, Day sat by an old bamboo table. But it wasn't the table, or the warm glow that caught my breath, it was his eyes. They held a mix of shyness and warmth, as if guarding a small secret. Dee stood drawing in a deep breath, like he was gathering every ounce of courage. His voice trembled just a little, but each word landed with weight and sincerity. Huyen, thank you for always being here. I just want you to know, no matter how hard life gets, I want to be by your side, sharing every burden with you. From behind his back, he revealed a single red rose. Its petals were soft, the fragrance drifting into the quiet space between us. I reached out to take it, feeling the cool stem in my fingers, and those words made my vision blur. I smiled, half shy, half radiant, and in that instant, the day's fatigue melted away. On the porch, Maya watched us with wide, glistening eyes, like she was witnessing a scene straight out of a fairy tale. At her feet, BB, our little dog, wagged his tail wildly, ears perked with excitement. In that moment, my laughter, Dee's unsteady voice, and BB's soft barks blended together into a gentle, perfect harmony. I realized then, you don't need grand, expensive gifts. Sometimes a single rose and a heartfelt word can fill a small home with warmth and soothe every weary day you've lived through. In the small kitchen behind our bamboo house, the fire crackled softly. The faint blue haze of evening smoke hung in the air, blending with the mouth-watering scent of freshly grilled fish, making my stomach tighten in anticipation. Day sat by a worn bamboo cutting board, his hands moving with practiced ease as he cleaned the catch of the day. Each precise cut revealed glistening white flesh beneath. Beside him, Maya stood on tiptoe, her tiny hands picking vegetables, sneaking curious glances at the fish like she couldn't wait for dinner to be ready. I stood over the stove, beads of sweat forming on my forehead from the heat, quietly smiling as I stirred a pot of soup and watched the two of them. The sound of the knife on the board, the soft crackle of firewood, and Maya's bursts of giggles blended into a melody of warmth and contentment. In the corner, Bibi, our little dog, dozed lazily, his tail thumping now and then whenever laughter filled the room. Soon dinner was ready, spread out on the old bamboo table, perfectly golden grilled fish, a bowl of bright green vegetable soup, and a small plate of tangy pickled eggplant. Nothing fancy, but each dish carried the unmistakable taste of love. The three of us sat close, sharing the meal. I placed a tender piece of fish into Maya's bowl, while Dee simply watched us with a quiet smile that said more than words ever could. Outside, the last light of sunset faded, and shadows wrapped around the bamboo roof. But inside our kitchen, the glow of the fire and the sound of our laughter filled every corner. In that moment, I realized my entire world was right here, in this simple meal, with the people I love most.
Cô đơn, suy nghĩ bất giác thoáng qua, rồi cứ thế bám chặt lấy người ấy.